Good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. Over the last 48 hours, if there has been one story that has made headlines and that has baffled everybody, has been the story that has come out from where I'm coming to you this evening. That is from Mehrauli. The murder of Shraddha by her live-in partner Aftab has baffled every person. A couple who looked like an ordinary couple who was having a live-in relationship that ended in this gruesome brutality. What really happened? I'm coming to you from the killer's den. This is exactly where the couple Aftab and Shraddha used to reside. This is a house in Mehrauli. Before we get talking about what really had happened, I quickly want to first show you what the killer's den looks like. We're going to give you an inside access now of the residence where the couple actually stayed. This is exactly the room where the couple used to stay and where Aftab murdered Shraddha, chopped up her body in 35 different parts. You can't see any stains of any blood or any reminiscence of the body parts because of the kind of planning that was done by Aftab. What we're understanding, the murder took place in the month of May. Then over a period of 18 to 20 days, Aftab used to dispose of part by part of Shraddha's body in the middle of the night in a nearby forest area. How come you don't see any blood stains here is the question you might want to ask. Because what we're understanding as far as investigation is concerned, he used bleach to try and get the stains away. How did the neighbors not hear anything is another question that has baffled the investigating agencies. Who were Aftab and Shraddha? Why did Aftab want to indulge himself in such brutalities? These are some of the These are remnants of the fridge that Aftab had bought to actually store the body parts of Shraddha. Remember, Shraddha was his live-in partner. He chopped off her body in 35 different parts. I would ask my camera person Pramod to come once again and give you a sense of what the residence looked like. It looked like any other ordinary residence. We're understanding he dragged the body from this room that you see to an inside area. There's a washroom there, and apparently he chopped the body off in different parts in that bathroom. He then used bleach, as I pointed out, to try and cover the blood stains. I want to now walk out and also show you what the other surrounding areas actually look like. A lot of neighbors that we've spoken to have said that Aftab was a person who was aloof. He didn't really mingle with too many people. He didn't really have any friends. His last spotting by most neighbors was at this very spot. Many neighbors had seen him standing here, but no really red flags went out because he was somebody, as I said, who didn't really have any friends. The landlord, of course, is currently somebody who's not had any contact with the investigating agencies. That is currently also being looked into. Most of the neighbors, kind of seeing the media presence, are also today very apprehensive of wanting and come to talk to us to help us understand of what really happened. But I did speak to a few neighbors, and this is what they had to say. Most neighbors here are in disbelief because they feel that this is an area where most people actually know each other. But Aftab was an exception. He was aloof. He didn't speak to a lot of people. He didn't really have any friends. The larger question that is on everybody's mind is, when you live in a society where houses are placed so close to next to each other, how come the neighbors didn't sense that something was going wrong? I want to speak to a few people who've been living here for a while to try and understand. Or did they hear anything? Did they know Aftab? Had they seen Shraddha? Let's try and get some answers. क्या आपने कभी श्रद्धा और आफ्ताब को साथ यहाँ पर देखा था?
नहीं देखा, हमने कभी भी नहीं देखा. वो लड़के को ऊपर देखा था एक दो बार, उसमें खड़ा हुआ था रेलिंग पे.
रेलिंग पे खड़ा हुआ आपने आफ्ताब को कई बार देखा है. आप लड़के को देखा है. कभी क्या किसी से कोई बातचीत हुई, कुछ हुई?
बातचीत तो नहीं हुई किससे. ऐसे क्यों झूठ बोलिए ना, वैसे बात नहीं हुई हमारे से.
काफी लोगों का ये सवाल है कि इतने घर आसपास हैं तो कैसे किसी ने कुछ सुना नहीं, किसी को कुछ पता नहीं चला?
मैडम, हमने तो सुना नहीं कुछ भी. म्यूजिक बजाते थे, आवाजें आती थी, अब क्या सुनाई है. उसमें हमें कोई वो दरवाजा तो बंद कर लेते थे।
आपने कभी लड़की को देखा या लड़का लड़की को साथ देखा?
हम तो तीसरी मंजिल पर रहते, जब सब्जी दूध लेने जाते, जब तो चाय देख ले, पानी वानी भरने जाते। एक बार मैं गई थी इनके घर में, मेरे को कहते पानी वानी नहीं है, वो कोई बुजुर्ग था, फिर मैं घर में आ गई थी। उसके बाद मैं इनके घर नहीं आती जाती। वैसे पार्टियां वगैरह चलती हैं, अब ये नहीं पता बेटा भाई ये हाँ किसको बुलाते नहीं है, चलाते नहीं है, तो क्या पता अंदर अंदर क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं बेटा।
तो आप बोल रहे हैं काफी पार्टी होती थी, स्पीकर से काफी आवाज आते थे, तो आपने किस तरह के लोग आते जाते देखे?
लड़के जानता है मकान तो बहुत काफी दिन से बना हुआ है, वैसे तो लड़के वो सही है, वो भी मालिक भी।
There you heard from the neighbors that they're in disbelief. They said they never saw anything that was amiss. What they keep reiterating is that Aftab was somebody who was aloof. He never said even pleasantries to neighbors while passing by. So the neighbors say Aftab was somebody who was aloof. He didn't really exchange pleasantries with anyone, and that's why they could have never imagined in their wildest dreams that something like this could have happened. The lane that you see behind me is exactly the same lane that Aftab used to take every single night as he stepped out of the residence where Shraddha and he lived to dispose of one body part after another of Shraddha. Of course, this has baffled a lot of investigating agencies because right now there's not much evidence to work with. There is just a confession of Aftab. A 5-day custody has been given to the police officials who also took him to the crime scene to recreate the sequence and to try and understand what led to. I want to bring in my colleagues who've been reporting for us. I want to bring in our guest as well. My colleague Anvit is joining us. He in fact has been tracking all these developments as far as the recreation of the crime scene is concerned. My colleague Anshul is joining us from that very particular shop where the refrigerator was bought in which Aftab actually kept the body parts of Shraddha. Nikhil is joining us. He's been tracking as far as the police questioning is concerned. Mir is joining us from Mumbai. He's been tracking the movements and family members of Aftab as well. We also have with us on the show a very special guest to help us understand how do you crack this mystery of this crime. We also have on the show Maxwell Pereira, a former DCP who in fact was the man who cracked the Tandoor case. Thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on CNN News 18. I first want to bring in my colleagues. Anshul, I want to come to you first. You've been reporting for us all day long in between the residence where the Shraddha and Aftab stayed, also talking to shopkeepers as far as where the fridge was bought. What are shopkeepers telling you? Also, you spoke to the doctor very interestingly because we are understanding when Aftab was chopping off the body parts of Shraddha, he actually managed to hurt himself as well. So what did the doctor tell you? What was the rationale or the defense given by Aftab to try and get some sort of treatment? Okay, we seem to be having a bit of an issue trying to establish that connection with Anshul, but let me bring in Anvit in the conversation. Anvit, you've been tracking all the developments as far as recreation of the crime scene is concerned. Two things that I want to understand from you. One, do we have any clarity of what the motive was? What led Aftab in wanting to take this extreme step?
Shraddha's dismembered body was kept in the fridge. Some women kept coming to the house and this man was sleeping with other women at the time when the body was still in the fridge. Also, he had promised married. This woman had been pestering him to get married. This is what he has also confessed. This is what her parents had also told police, that initially she had told that she wants to be with this man. Okay. And that is what the reason was, that they had eloped from Maharashtra and come to Delhi. So these theories, this just does not justify the crime that has happened, and it looks more than just a couple's fight that has ended in this violent nature. Also, as far as when your second query is concerned, that 35 pieces is the body was chopped into, and what has the recovery been done so far? Police have recovered at least 10 to 12 pieces, but these pieces, police are saying, are very small fragments of bones that have been recovered at the instance of this man who had been taken to the crime scene, to this jungle area in Chhatarpur. And these pieces now, I would say the probe has just begun, because now these pieces need to be first confirmed whether these are human remains, and once that is confirmed, these will be sent to forensic laboratories for DNA profiling, and the samples will be matched with DNA of Shraddha's father, whose medical has already been done. So when we spoke to some senior officials in the FSL, they told us that this will be a very tedious process, because extracting DNA
process, as Anvit is pointing out, it's not going to be very simple to try and get answers because one, not all body parts have been recovered. Of course, as Anvit is rightly pointing out, the DNA samples of Shraddha's father has been now taken and the samples that have been found in the forest area will be matched with that. But I want to bring in our guest Maxwell Pereira as well. Sir, I want to understand, when you see the details that are emerging from this case and the case that you had solved back in the day, what are the kind of similarities that you see?
Unfortunately, it is the chaotic nonsense that you reporters sort of cover. You see, first of all, you have accepted a so-called confession, which is not admissible evidence. So, first of all, you must understand that. Number two, you are talking of the chopping. This is exactly what was done, which was erroneously reported by the reporters like you about the Tandoor murder. The eveningers who covered the issue wanted to sensationalize it, and they reported chopping when there was no chopping at all. It was the bones that we had recovered from the tandoor, which had fallen after being burnt. You know, these are simple things, but you don't know the amount of, red herrings, the amount of distraction, distorted investigation that you people may create, which totally distorts the actual
sir,
investigation that needs to
what
take
police
place.
officials have said. But
Yes,
sir, we're
exactly.
only going by what police officials have said as of now.
The police
These are exactly
officials,
facts that have been said in the press conference and the interactions that the police officers have had. So the media is also building up on those facts because
Yes,
people are also trying to understand what really led as far as the mindset of the man is concerned.
The police will tell you a story. They don't tell you the facts. These are non-admissible facts.
Okay, we seem to be having a bit of an issue as far as the connection of Maxwell Pereira is concerned. We'll try and re-establish that, but I believe my colleague Anshul is also now back with us. Anshul, essentially I was trying to understand, you've reported from outside the residence where Shraddha and Aftab used to stay. You've also visited the shopping area which was close by from where that refrigerator in fact was picked up. You've also spoken to the doctor because Aftab, remember, managed to hurt himself while he was chopping the body of Shraddha. So talk to us about what is the shopkeepers or people close by to this area have told you. More importantly, what did the doctor say? What was the explanation given by Aftab as to how did he manage to hurt himself?
So yes, at the location at which I am standing right now is approximately 500 to 700 meters away from where you are currently, Ridhima. That is from the residence of Aftab and Shraddha. I'll just move out of the frame and try and show you a few shops that are over here. So the shop that you see, the home and kitchen shop, this is the shop from where Aftab initially went and bought that knife and garbage bags. This has been confirmed to us by the shopkeepers themselves, and also as Aftab made this in his statement, the police made sure that they get him here. And when they got him here, the Aftab himself said that he bought knives and garbage bags from here. From here, now you see this Apex hospital that you can see in your frames right now. This is the very hospital in which Aftab came and got himself stitched when he accidentally cut himself while he was trying to chop. While he was trying to chop Shraddha. And I'll just move on. I'll also show you there is a shop right there across the road. This is the exact shop from where Aftab went and bought that fridge on the 19th of May. That is the very next morning that he managed to kill Shraddha. The very next morning he comes out, he buys a fridge, he buys those chopping knives and garbage bags, because until the very next morning he had planned what he had to do with the body. And once I spoke to the doctor also actually said that he very vividly remembered him, because he was sort of a person who was speaking in English at all the times. And when the doctor eventually asked him that how did you manage to cut your hand, he said that this is an accidental cut and has been done while he was cutting fruits. Also, the doctor also said that he remembers him as the wife of doctors is from Mumbai, and Aftab himself said that he does not belong to Delhi. He has come to he has come from Mumbai over here because the IT companies over here pay really well, and that is the reason why he has come. And that is the reason why the doctor actually remembered him very vividly. Also, the kind of aggression that he was showing while he was getting stitched, he had no remorse at all on his face. Even when the doctor gave him anesthesia, he had absolutely no pain, and no pain was shown on his face. So yes, he was that kind of a person who absolutely kept a hard face, making sure that no one would be able to find out the kind of incidents that has
Anshul,
happened.
that seems to
in
have
his house
baffled a
and
lot,
what
right? That after you commit such a gruesome murder, how come there was no change in the demeanor of Aftab? As you've also reported, as Anvit has also reported, at this very same location, he actually had some women friends who were visiting him as well while he had the body parts or Shraddha still kept in that refrigerator. So what really was happening in the mind of Aftab is a question that many would want answers to. But let me bring in Nikhil and Mir in the conversation as well. Nikhil, I want to come to you first. Since what Aftab says is going to become very crucial, but also the evidence that the police find on their own is also going to be very, very crucial. Yes, they have his confession, but anything else that the police have managed to get from Aftab so far?
So Ridhima, as per the details, it is a big challenge for the Delhi police personnel to prove the entire case in the court of law, because so far only what they have is the confession, but they need the evidences as well. In the series of the same, the recovery of the weapon becomes very important, and for the same, the Delhi police officials today took the main accused Aftab to the site where he had thrown the pieces of deceased person Shraddha. At that particular site, he was taken by the Delhi police officials, but no fresh recovery has been made today itself. But so far, what we do know is that 10 to 12 remain of the bone it has been recovered, which have been sent to the FSL. That means once it becomes clear that it belongs to the Shraddha, then it will further be examined whether the DNA matches to his father, to her father or not. So many of the things have been, it becomes important here because it has to be proved in the court of law. Apart from it, Ridhima, as you have rightly mentioned, the motive becomes very much important, because had he wanted to just get rid of her, he would have, simply said that, see, we should not live together further. But the actual incident turned out to be so gruesome that even people are shocked to the core that how a person could kill his loved one in 35 pieces. This is the reason why the motive of the same becomes important. And there are many of the theories, Ridhima, which are doing round on the social media as well, and the people are asking as to was there any of the suspicion involved between the two, was there any infidelity or the cheating part involved between the two, or was there any of the pressure for the marriage from either of the sides.
So the motive becomes important. Nikhil, also is that is it possible that Aftab could have done all of this alone, or did he actually have accomplices with him? This is something again that the police is looking into as well. I want to bring in Mir in the conversation as well. Mir, when I spoke to neighbors here as far as where the couple stayed, one thing that was reiterated by almost every neighbor was that Aftab was an aloof man. He didn't really have any friends. He didn't really speak to anybody, whether it was good or bad times. So we couldn't have known what was going on in his life. What's the situation like in Mumbai? What are people who've known the family for a long time saying? Is it something similar that they're saying there as well?
Absolutely. The description of Aftab was similar to what the neighbors described when you spoke to them in Delhi. In fact, I did speak to some of the members of the particular society where the Poonawallas have been living for years together. They said that it was just another normal family, and the children in the family were just about normal. There was nothing absurd about them. In fact, Aftab was a recluse. He didn't have many friends. So similar kind of description comes out as far as Aftab is concerned. What is shocking is what was playing on his mind with the kind of details that are coming out in this case, with the kind of confessions that are coming out and we are hearing about it, is the fact that whether this was a spur of the moment fight which led to a murder and then whatever actions he took, or it was a well-planned act by Aftab, is some of the questions that are raised by many. In fact, certain political parties have taken a stand and they are amplifying the entire love jihad angle to it, which is in a sense what even BJP's Ram Kadam and several other pro-Hindu groups are trying to reiterate and trying to push forward in the investigation. What we know at this point is that the initial investigation as far as Aftab is concerned started when a missing report was filed by the family. When Shraddha was untraceable for a while, the family decided to file this missing report and the police started investigating. In fact, Aftab was called all the way from Delhi to Mumbai for questioning.
At every single level. If the murder happened in the month of May, the family already had not great relationships with Shraddha. But all of this came to light much later. Why? That's a question that many are asking. I'll just request my colleagues to stay on with us because we want to understand that how come in this period that passed, how come nobody tried to get in touch with Shraddha? Why come no friend really came forward? I have with me Rajat Shukla, who is one of Shraddha's friend, who's now joining us on the broadcast to help us understand when the friend spoke to Shraddha last and had she already raised some concerns about her relationship with Aftab. Rajat, we appreciate you taking our time and joining us here on CNN News 18. I want to begin by understanding when was the last time you either met or spoke with Shraddha?
The communication that had happened with Shraddha was with Shraddha and her best friend, and that was the time when they were supposed to shift to Delhi. That was Shraddha and Aftab's decision of shifting to Delhi when they had thought that they'll go there, do a job together. Uh, However, Shraddha had already made distance with a lot of friends, and I was one amongst them. I thought maybe she's being rude to me or whatever. That was from the year 2019 itself. She had started being too reserved, too personal.
So when did you feel, Rajat, that something was wrong? Did she specifically speak to you about what were the issues that she was facing, and when did you feel that things were going wrong?
So it was in 2019 itself when it was revealed. So initially, this guy Aftab was pretending to have a nice relationship with this girl, but then 2019 itself, when it was made official, we got to know that maybe they were secretly in a relationship since 2018 itself. That's when we had noticed a sudden change in Shraddha's behavior, where she used to be a jolly, bubbly girl to
Okay.
becoming, too reserved. So we got to know that these people are in a relationship. Initially, everything was nice, but then Shraddha herself revealed to her best friend that uh, you know this boy Aftab is being violent to her. He beats her up, and
Okay.
things are becoming worse between them. But still, she was continuing. There was something very major that we are not informed about, and that's a question in the head.
Rajat, that's one question that many people want to know is how was Aftab as a friend, as a human being, as a colleague, as a neighbor? You guys must have spoken to him, must have met him. How was he when you met him?
So Aftab was a poker face. I mean, by seeing, so a lot of my friends met him. He was like a person who was a reserved personality. I mean, there are people who are introverts. Introverts are different. I mean, they are like not people who would want to speak, but then reserved are the people who consciously decide to not reveal things about them. So Aftab was one amongst them. He had a poker face. I mean, nothing could have been deciphered just by seeing him.
After one question that also many are trying to get an answer to is that did Shraddha raise red flags earlier? Did she speak to any of you that she was being physically abused or physically harassed?
We were into this relationship, and Aftab was being abusive, uh, and she had shared this with us. Shraddha was not so, um, simple kind of a girl. She was strong. She was bold. She was certainly a person who would leave the person, and she was also adamant to that fact that she wanted to leave. But why she was unable to leave this person, it cannot be love. There is something more to it that is not seen to the naked eyes.
Rajat, when you say that there was something more than what meets the eye, any reason that you can think of today, or what could have been the motive? Anything in hindsight that you remember that possibly Shraddha could have mentioned to you?
Well, seeing this as a love hate thing or whatever seems absolutely undigestible to me, because in love a person would have their opinions, thoughts, expressions. The person might even debate with each other. If not finding valid things together, not compatible with each other, the person would leave each other out of maybe anger. The person might even raise their hands. But murder is a two big thing. And murdering somebody and making 35
Okay.
pieces is the superlative form. Staying in that same house and leading an absolute simple life and not making anybody realize that something severe has happened is more superlative. So you can understand how strong this person would be in his mental state, that he was able to commit such a heinous crime and was also able to nearly pull off the whole crime scene and
Sure.
clear off all the evidences.
Okay. Unfortunately, our condolences go out to you as well, Rajat, hoping you as friends and the family members of Shraddha can get some answers as well. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave that conversation there. The investigation is on. We'll have to see what really comes out of it. With that, it's a wrap from my side. Thanks a lot for watching.